Okay, so we are live. And I've been playing with my audio settings, really trying to get them right here. I noticed a little bit of voice clipping, just a little bit, in the last video. And so I've been working with the compressor settings and whatnot just to work some stuff out. I hope that my game audio is okay and that you're getting decent music volumes and whatnot. And I think we are good to go. So we're going to click continue. Okay, so looks like that's okay for the game volume. Just want to double check my levels. I made a lot of changes. So if there is a problem with them, please feel free to let me know. But we're going to continue.
On it.
There was one thing that I missed here. I think I missed there a desk or something. This guy here. I hadn't interacted with this device yet, so I wanted to see what happens. So before we get into this, let's just do a bit of a just had a bit of a weird stutter there. Before we get into this, just a bit of a recap. We had spoken to a few people here at the Order of Truth, and Min, he's the leader. He's reluctant, and he advised that we speak to Salamari about the resonance chamber. She had helped us build it in the first place many years ago, and apparently there was a love interest between her and the last cast-off when the body was possessed by the changing god. So we talked to her, and Koro was there, and she sent him off. We told her to give him a chance. I initially didn't want him going, but I kind of changed my mind. It sounds like he's trying to prove himself to her, and I figure if he goes there, then we're probably going to meet him anyway if he survives. We won't know for sure, but I'm not going to be that sad if he doesn't make it. But at the same time, I'm happy to see what happens if he goes there first. He might mess things up, or he might figure some stuff out that he can help us with. We'll find out when we go there. And she wants us to do that before she'll help us with to go and view the research site that she was working at. I don't remember the name. It's kind of obscure. And so she wanted us to go, and it sounds like there were some intruders that tripped some kind of ancient security system, and the place became kind of locked up. And she says that she can gain entry, as she gave us the key to do so, which is an eye on a metal stick. And so she can gain entry, but she's worried that there might be something dangerous in there. Either something that was awakened as a type of security system, or perhaps whatever it was that tripped the security system in the first place. So that's where we're at right now. Koro went on his way. I was looking at our pools, and we're pretty low, and I haven't encountered any way to rest yet, and I don't know how to do that. So maybe there are places where you have to go to rest. I don't know. But I'm not sure if I want to go in when I've only got, 2 left on my intelligence pool. So we might have to use some of our potions before we go ahead and do that. And Tybir, one of our companions, had made some comments about how he wanted to, put his head on a pillow. So there might, I don't know if there's a fatigue system in this game, but either it's just a random thing that he says and has nothing to do with game mechanics, or there's something about the game mechanics that's letting us know that we should rest with our companions, which we haven't done yet. Okay, so this machine here, this is where they make levies, so the guards for the city that we are in, Sagus Cliffs. And so to become a citizen, you have to essentially sacrifice a year of your life to this machine to make a levy, which lasts for a year. So that's an interesting system to have. Sounds very unpleasant, and I wouldn't want to do it. but that's what they have set up. So this is part of this machine, and we didn't interact with it previously, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. So, this machine is a chaotic assemblage of metal tanks and tubing. A work table mounted with square parts stands beside it, and it's connected by wires to an oddly familiar sarcophagus and other devices. So, as usual, we will examine the machine. As it turns out, there is very little to examine. Every access point to the machine has been carefully sealed. Some of the hatches and panels are worn with use. They are likely accessed by the Order when they perform maintenance on the machine. Others are gleaming, ornate locks with twisted keyholes, unmarred by the scratches and nicks of careless, everyday use. You run your hands across its surface and feel the ghost of another person's hands doing the same. Interesting. So it's not, it literally means we feel the ghost of another person's hands doing the same. So this has brought up a new dialogue option here, which is the anamnesis, which is our memories of our past life when we were the changing god, which we still have remnants of in our mind. So let's examine it again before we try this, see if we can perhaps boost our chances with that. You wrap your knuckles experimentally on the side of the machine. The sound reverberates through the hollow space within, echoing and echoing into inaudible eternity. Oh, well, knock on the machine again. The sound bounces around the inside of the hollow machine like a rock falling down an infinite well. So it has quite a bit of resonance to it. So I wonder if that's just a natural thing that's going on, or if there's some kind of transdimensional phenomenon going on here, which wouldn't surprise me considering that this creates levies, so beings, by using the energy of people who wish to become citizens. Let's see what happens if we do it again. No, nothing. So, pick through the spare parts on the table. You sort through the jumbled components on the table. There aren't many, nor are there any duplicates. These appear to be spare parts for the machine. Okay, let's see if we can figure out why it looks so familiar. So, we're going to use the rest of our intelligence pool for this. Okay, so it's going to tell us a little bit about our low stat pool, so maybe it'll tell us a little bit about resting. You fully depleted one of your stat pools, might, speed, or intellect. To recover your stat pools, you can find a place to sleep or use consumable items and ciphers. So we do have to find a specific place in order to rest. So there might be a place in the city here. I wanted to get off to the research site, but, you know, because Koro is going there, and I'm concerned for his safety. But, you know, maybe we give him a few hours and see what happens. I'm not sure if it actually mechanically makes a difference, but we'll let him try to solve the problem himself. We'll go and we'll rest up, and then we will visit the site and see how he made out. All right, back to this portion. The memory opens like a gaping mouth and closes around you. Hot wind pulls at your robes, jagged grit claws at your eyes. Squinting through the storm, you see the machine half buried in the sand. Curiously, you wedge open a panel. Inside is a sphere sparkling like a jewel, but soft to the... Life drains from you into the sphere like blood from a wound. The machine is stealing your life. Growling, you return the favor, ripping the sphere from the machine and regarding it with cold eyes. The memory releases you abruptly, leaving you panting in front of the machine, which is not the ruined monstrosity your predecessor discovered in the Archipelagian ruins. You know, however, that the orb is sealed somewhere inside this device. Okay, so there's some kind of orb. It doesn't surprise me that in our encounter with this machine in our memory, it felt like it was draining our life. It apparently drains the life of the citizens in some way to create the levies, so it seems that that's what it's designed to do. And apparently there's an orb inside, and maybe we will try to find it at some point. Let's knock on it again, see if anything happens after that memory. Nope, nothing. Okay, last thing I want to do with this here triangle, I had figured it was some kind of puzzle, and it seems like, you know, all these colors here are like colors of the rainbow. And the only thing that was, you know, I spent a little time thinking about it afterwards. So there's lurid red, blazing orange, and when it's talking about in this inscription, it says, the crimson dawn greets the seeker, the violet dusk sees the search's end. My cats are fighting. I apologize. So these here are, you know, it reminded me that these are the colors of the rainbow. So Roy G. Biv, right? And then when you look at the colors, when you press, when you pull the sphere through the different parts, that's what happens. The only thing that was confusing me a little bit is that there's 3 different orange hues, and I didn't know what order to put them in. So if I go through this, if I do number 1, so I do the front, it changes to a bright orange, and then I do it again, deep violet hue, then it goes back to bright orange, then deep violet hue, so it alternates. So I was confused if I had to do these in an order where it was left on the one that I wanted, or if I just started, if the next one would automatically be the correct one. But these orange ones threw me off because I didn't know what order to put them in. So I experimented a little bit earlier, and I figured it out. So I wrote it down, and it takes me through. So we're going to just start from the beginning. So we'll leave the device alone. Yes. But yeah, I was trying to go from the red to the purple initially and see if I could do some order where it would set on that thing, but it kept resetting the purple one to a different color. So I figured that you couldn't leave it where it would alternate. It doesn't always alternate between the two. It depends on what you selected before. So I did some testing with the oranges to see what the order was, because it's Roy G. Biv, so red and then it's orange, but they have 3 different oranges. They also have 2 purples, I think. And orange, so you have a reddish orange, and then a yellowish orange, right? So I knew the ones that confused me, because you've got the bright orange, blazing orange, and dull orange, and I wasn't sure what order to put them in, because it's like, well, is bright orange more red? Is blazing orange more red or yellow? So that kind of threw me off, but I figured it out. So we start with the red, which is left. So we figured that out. So lurid red, and I wrote down the alternating ones for each of these, so which one it alternated between. So when we do left, it alternates between lurid red and deep violet. So we start with it though, and we get red. So that's our first step, because we're doing the rainbow, right? So then we want to do bright orange. That apparently is the more red orange, and bright orange is from the front. Okay, great. So it changes to a bright orange. That's what we want. Then we want dull orange, which is right. Very good. And then the right one alternates between dull and blazing. So it's still orange. So we want to do the right one again. So that's blazing orange. And then if we go through the bottom, we get shining yellow. So Roy, shining yellow. So bottom opening. And then the back opening gives us, so that's yellow, Roy G, so green. So the next one we want to do is green, which was through the back. And then we want to do the back again, because we get the blue. So Roy G, Biv, blue. Blue. And then the bottom again, because that's going to give us our indigo, Biv, B-I-V, indigo. And then we want to do the violet. So that was the front. So we have the deep violet. And then left was deeper, changes to a deep violet. And those ones, if I recall when I was switching between them, they both just said deep violet. So getting that order was, you just have to figure it out which one came first. So that's it. I was pretty happy to figure that one out. I figured that when I saw the colors, I could tell that they were all rainbow colors, and the one that kind of clued me in was indigo. It's interesting to say indigo instead of like a bluish purple or blue or purple. So yeah, that's a very specific name for a color. And I figured that it had something to do with the rainbow. And then it tells you from red to violet, which is, of course, the spectrum of light. Great, so we get an item for this. Upon being placed back in the frame, the sphere trembles slightly and begins oscillating through the various colors over and over, faster and faster. When your eyes can barely keep up with the color shifts, a bright flash erupts from it, blinding you temporarily. When your vision returns, the sphere is gone, and in its place is an item of alien design. So we got Beads of Time Never Ending, and I don't know what these are, so let's take a look at them. I will bring them up. So, granted abilities. Beads of Time Never Ending. Confers hastened plus 50% movement speed. That's very good, especially because we want to be able to move around quickly and move quickly on the battlefield, because we are a squishy character. I don't want to be in melee combat that much. I'm not built for it. I don't have a lot of hit points. So being able to get out of melee is very useful for me. Plus 15% evasion, and we get plus 15% on attacks. I don't know if this only applies... It says attacks. I don't know if that means both esoteries and melee attacks and ranged attacks, or if it's just, physical attacks. I don't know what that buff is for. If it's for all attacks or just physical attacks. This gorgeous artifact is made of several beads of various shapes, sizes, colors, and materials, all strung to a fine platinum chain. The individual beads shift constantly from one material form to another, spinning quickly around the chain. The artifact is light in your hand, nearly weightless. By rapidly spinning certain beads simultaneously, the device's temporal energy can be redirected into a target for a powerful restorative effect. So now, down here, we're getting a little bit more information because of our training in mystical lore. So this device was long held by a devoted Nano who hoped his research would enable him to protect those he loved. His only definitive conclusion was that this type of charm would most likely have been worn around the ankle. Interesting, so it's an anklet. Okay, great. I'm excited to get that. That is a great item. And it's an artifact. It's our first artifact, actually. All right, so we're going to take it. And it's there's an ornament slot for it. So we're going to go ahead and put that on. I guess it goes around our ankle. And yeah, so we first hastened 15% evasion. Why are we not? I'm wondering why it's not. Oh, maybe I have to use it. Let's see. Yes, I do. So, it doesn't... Hastened gives us these effects. That's what it is. So it's not a passive bonus to our character. So it's active for 3 rounds. So this is like a combat. Yeah, it's only usable during combat. So, and that's fine. It really, we don't need the... I mean, movement speed is irrelevant when you're not in combat. Evasion is, and attacks aren't relevant when you're not in combat. Although it would be nice to have those bonuses all the time in combat, not just for 3 rounds. But we could use it twice in each crisis. So it's active for 3 rounds. That's pretty long. I haven't done a lot of combat, so I don't know how many rounds combat typically lasts. And it says target 1 ally. I'm wondering, once again, if we count as an ally. Because I want to use it on myself. We'll see. We'll try it out. Okay, we're going to save it here, because I am very happy that we found that. We're going to call it the... what was it called? Beads of Time Never Ending. Artifact. Beads... Oh, it doesn't let us put that. Beads of Time. We'll just call it Beads of Time. Okay, great. All right, so I think we're going to see if there's some kind of place where we can rest. And Min did talk about how there were the engines of these ancient starships. You can see them down in the underbelly, and I was very curious about that. I want to see what they look like. It would be, I think, pretty cool. And then there's also storage, and he said that it's very secret, which leads me to believe that perhaps it's something that we can investigate and maybe go check out at some point. I'm wondering if... I don't think there's going to be a place to rest here in Government Square. It doesn't strike me as... And there's other stuff we're going to check out as time goes on, like the Red Thicket and whatnot. I'm curious about what's going on in here, and maybe if we can make use of it later on for those kind of quieter conversations. I don't know what the caravanserai is. I don't recognize what that word means. I recognize caravan, but adding the serai, I don't know if it has anything to do with caravans or anything like that. And it seems like there's markets in Circus Minor, but maybe there's more. Maybe this is more like an official market square, but I don't know if caravan means anything here. And then the underbelly just sounds like the kind of the slums. And, that's where the engines are, kind of industrial. So let's go check it out. There's probably going to be some stuff that distracts us a little bit from Salameri's quests. I'm going to try not to right now because I do want to go there, and I'm really just looking for a place to rest. I need to replenish some of these, and I'm okay with giving Koro his shot because he wanted his shot. So I'm going to give it to him, and we'll see if we find him or if maybe he doesn't make it. So it says here, we're going down to the underbelly. Metal rungs have been fastened to the side of this structure, extending into the darkness far below. So we are going to climb down. All right, so we did get a codex for it. Let's see what it says. Quite loud. If I talk, it should lower that volume a little bit. It looks like it's lowering it an appropriate amount. So, sorry. Let me know if it's too loud. So the underbelly, far below the great ships that dominate Government Square, lies the underbelly, a series of caverns cut from the compressed detritus of millennia. For its name and reputation, the dregs of society congregate in the gloom. Mutants, the desperately poor, the cannibalistic Dendra Ohur, the guy that was going to eat Riz. That's what, so that's what he is part of. I wonder if there's a thing on them. Locations, creatures. No, it doesn't say anything about the Dendra Ohur in here. So anyway, Dendra Ohur and other outcasts. The Stitcha can also be found here, digging and tunneling through the underbelly's stone caverns. So yeah, like I said, it's kind of like a slum area. Check out the map. See if there's an inn. So there's a shop down here. Dendra Ohur Chapel. I don't think we want to go there quite yet. I would like to check it out eventually. It sounds... This engine is quite loud. So these are the Starship Engines. I hope that that's not too loud. It's very dramatic. And they use them for energy production in the city, it says. So that's why they keep them running. And it's interesting. They have these kind of it looks like a very kind of traditional type of power generation when you've got this lava going on here. Like burning coal or just using heat to heat water and turn turbines. But then they've got this, these engines that are part of these massive starships. I love the way that they look. It's very cool. And look at what they're doing. So yeah, they are using, the engines have this kind of exhaust, and it looks like they're heating these giant buckets of metal. I'm not sure, but they're making a kind of magma or molten metal here, and then they are using that for something, whether forging or perhaps or perhaps they're using it to generate some kind of energy. It looks like they're forging over here. These are forging tools I can see here. Yeah, manufactory worker. So they're doing manufacturing here. So this is probably some kind of smelting and manufacturing process. And then over here, it looks like they are harvesting the energy instead. So we've got these pipes that have been... So now the engine here is directly feeding into these tubes, and then it looks like that energy is being fed down here, being somehow captured, and down here. Oh, I can examine it. Let's see what it says. Energies from this massive engine are channeled into metal pipes sent below ground and distributed throughout Underbelly. So it's just... Oh yeah, you can see here there's some channels of energy, and then more over here as well. Wonder if there's anything else that we can look at. We can interact over here. A bunch of stuff we can interact with. I think that we'll do that later. I really am just looking for a place to rest. We will come and we'll explore this at a later time. I'm a little worried that if we walk around, someone's going to come and... there's Alligaron. I'm not going to talk to him right now. I don't want... He's not going to join us if we have Callisteg with us anyway.
Without doubt.
But maybe we'll go and talk to him later. I wouldn't mind getting some of our equipment back, because I could happily sell it. Levies. Uh-oh. I don't like that. Get a good idea of what's going on down here. Well, if I can just loot it, perhaps I'll do that. Ooh, just money. We won't interact with a bunch of stuff right now. I really am just looking for a place to rest, and I figure there's a place down here, some kind of seedy motel. Leave Alligaron alone for now. This here, tiny dwellings carved into the rock wall, furnished with reeking bedrolls and bug-infested rags. So yeah, these are very... if you look, they're a little more than holes in the wall with these kind of blankets, providing some privacy and to the people who live there, and more than just people, mutants and outcasts and whatnot. It doesn't look like there is a place to rest. Let's see if what else there is here. To Cliff's Edge, Circus Minor. Okay, so let's go to... we're not going to go to Government Square. I don't think there's a place to rest there. So let's go to Circus Minor. Maybe there is an inn. Doesn't seem that I can... select a place on the map. That's kind of frustrating.
Of course.
We'll come and explore this more thoroughly later. Oh, it talked about the tides there. I should have read it. So we haven't really looked over here. So let's go ahead and do that.
On my way.
Looks like there's an exit here. I wonder if this just leaves the city. Cliff's Edge, yeah.
As you wish.
Oh, this looks like it might be an inn. I remember from the earlier times I played, there are people down here, and there's some slavers or kind of slavers down here. This is about as far as I got the last time I played.
It is done.
Doesn't look like there's any inns here. I don't want to rest. I don't want to go talk to these folks here. What's this? That takes us to the end. So that's where we came from. Gosh, how do I rest? Which would be nice. Oh, there are sleep locations marked here on the map. So maybe we can't rest in town. So let's go to Cliff's Edge. So Reef of Fallen Worlds and Cliff's Edge. I don't think we've actually been out here yet. See what happens when we get out. During a crisis, move party members to opposite sides of an enemy to inflict the flanked fettle on them. I wasn't sure if there was a flanking mechanic, but apparently there is. So we will try to make use of that.
Coming.
As a member of the council, I assure you the creature will be found. How soon? So they're looking for some kind of creature. Houses are at stake here. So there's probably something going on that's bad. I don't want anything to do with that right now. I'm interested in these side quests and whatnot, but right now I'm really looking for a place to rest.
It is done.
Still checking the map. What's this here? Chirurgical parlor.
Gladly.
Wait. I don't know what that first word means. The chirurgical. Where does this lead? That's to the Underbelly. Yeah, that's right. We saw an exit in the Underbelly. I don't know. He seems interesting. He looks like he might be someone that becomes a party member. Maybe, maybe not. I'm just guessing there. Tormented Levy. There's a place, something to loot. I'll typically, if there's something to loot, I'll interact with that. I'm not going through everything, and I will eventually. But right now, I really am just looking for a place to rest. This dilapidated structure has been converted into a cheap boarding house. Inside, people sprawl on filthy mattresses in a dimly lit room. Well, can I come rest? I would like to. I would appreciate that. What is this? These displays show information regarding patients conveniently visible from anywhere within the parlor. Okay, so this is like a medical, this chirurgical has something to do with medical treatment. Well, let's go see what's here in this area. Apply effort on attacks is critical to success in crises, but be careful not to drain your pools too quickly. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm resting. Just grabbing my tea that was waiting for me here. Okay, so... Okay, good. So we have a bar, an outdoor bar. So that's good. That could mean that we're getting, you know, close to... Ah, excellent. Here we are, Tranquilities Rest. And we do have probably enough money to rest. I assume that they charge us.
Yes.
Interesting that it appears to be outside. Let's see what it says. Folding screens provide the illusion of privacy to room occupants, if not the real thing. Okay. Devices near the head of this bed move to match the current time of day, shading the eyes of their occupants. Okay, well, let's go talk. A woman as tall and graceful as a willow steps forward to greet you. She bows, then looks down at you with warm, gold-flecked eyes. Welcome, she says, to Tranquilities Rest. I am the proprietress, Tranquility. Are you looking for a place to take your ease? As she speaks, a sense of delicious calm comes over you, and you find yourself wanting to agree with her. There's nothing you'd like better right now than the peace and solitude of a quiet room. So our natural lore coming into play here finally. I think this is the first time I've seen it that I recall. Sorry. Spilled some of my tea here. Just a few drops. Excuse me. So, what do we find out by our natural lore skill? In fact, the feeling of calm you feel in her presence is so strong you wonder if it's entirely natural. Yeah, there seemed to be, it kind of felt like it wasn't just a normal healing. That's when you notice Tranquility's soothing scent. It must be more than perfume. Perhaps a pheromone of some sort. And her voice too is soothing. It is low and rich, and she appears to be modulating it in some way. The technique is subtle, but the effect is profound, calming you and making you feel a little sleepy. So she's running using this to her business advantage. Perhaps she uses it in other circumstances as well, but right now, apparently, only for her business. Forgive me for asking, but are you human? Tell me about Tranquilities Rest. I'd like a place to sleep. Maybe we'll talk to her a little bit later. Tranquility smiles. I'm so pleased. I'm sure you'll be most comfortable. The price is 20 shins per person. Yeah, let's do it. I do need to rest. 60 shins. Everyone. So resting that's quite expensive.
Better than I do right now.
To rest. And I mean, we're still in the early game, so I assume that we're going to do better as far as money is concerned a little bit later, but that was most of what we had. Yeah, that was basically all of our money. But we are rested, so I really was just looking for a place to rest, and I do want to get down to the research site. So we won't go that way. We'll go this way.
On it.
That brought us to Government Square. I actually wanted to go to Circus Minor, but I don't know if we could actually, so.
All right.
This is very interesting, and we didn't interact with it earlier, but we're gonna check out everything. I'm definitely a bit of a completionist, so if that bothers you, I'm letting you know now. You might have noticed if you've been watching any of these videos so far. That tooltip was just about the flanked bonus again. All right, so we are going to go, and after we complete that, I think we'll have some stuff to do with the Resonance Chamber, but I want to start thoroughly exploring the city. We'll see kind of how urgent it is that after we complete this task about the Resonance Chamber. The Indigo Tide represents justice, compromise, and the greater good. Okay, well, I don't see Koro anywhere. But we're going to save here. I'm going to take a quick break. And we will be back soon. So let's save. What's this place called again? Anechoic Lazarette. All right, great. Well, we will be back. All right, we're back. So, we made our way down here to the Reef of Fallen Worlds. Of course, this is where we started. And the Anechoic Lazarette. We're standing in front of the Anechoic Lazarette. We did rest, so we replenished our stat pools, and I expect that there is. Oh, and we get a buff, fettle, positive fettle from resting. So active until next sleep, plus 5% critical success chance. So I guess that applies to all of us. Okay, well, I think that's good to have before going in here. It sounds like it could be a little dangerous. So let's go ahead and see what happens. I'm going to do a quick save.
Go.
This metal door is thick, heavy, and unmarked by time. Double rows of circular bumps run horizontally horizontally and vertically across its surface. As you approach the door, one of the bumps suddenly slides open, revealing a circular aperture. A few tiny waving strands of synth emerge from the hole, so we're going to hold the metallic eye to the open aperture. The waving strands whip out, wrapping themselves around the eye. For a moment, the eye comes to life, buzzing and whispering, getting warmer in your hand. The synth fibers make soft, fluttery sounds in return. After a moment, they withdraw. The door slides open, and you step into the chamber beyond. Your dominant tides will not stop you from taking any paths or picking any options in conversations. Okay. Well, just replenishing my tea here, folks. As I suspected, Koro is here. He is alive, so we were kind of hoping he was alive. I wasn't sure that I wanted him to die. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about Koro yet. Seems like a bit of a scoundrel, definitely. We learned that early on in the game, as he tried to fight us because he wanted us. Or his employer, Salamari, who has sent him here as well, and sent us here as well. So, Koro. This isn't him speaking, just some narration. The corpses of Murdans, hunched bird-like abhumans, litter the floor. So we read about Murdans in that book that we took from the Order of Truth. And they're these abhumans, and they're a kind of mutant. And they're cowardly, they can't speak, they only communicate telepathically, although apparently it can be quite distracting. And I'm curious about how that might interact with our ability to scan thoughts. So it sounds like there's Murdans here. We'll get to see some of them. Yeah, we can see a little bit over here. And, well, I'm sure that we will encounter some more. Their wounds are fresh, left by blade and beam. The air smells of rust and blood. Koro waits you on the other end of the room with a hireling. He's clutching his bandaged side with a shaking hand. Even now, he manages a cocky grin. Took you long enough, he says. And Cal, he says to your companion, his grin half a grimace. I was hoping you'd make your appearance earlier. What kept you? Well, we were resting. Following our falling star around the city. He sighs. What could possibly have been more important than lending an old friend a hand? So I don't know if it would have made a difference if we had come before resting or not. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But, well, he's still alive, so lucky him, I guess. In your case, Callistake says, practically everything, I'm afraid. With a pained chuckle, Koro turns back to you. We made a slight miscalculation in assuming the Murdans here were the architects of Salamari's troubles. He coughs and continues. After we punished them for trespassing, we descended to the next level to look for stragglers. But instead, we found what drove the Murdans up here, heavily armed and hostile drones. His hand tightens on his side. As you can see, we had a rough time of it. We left 2 dead down there. His face is solemn. I should have been more careful. So this might work to our advantage. If he hadn't come, there would apparently be a bunch of Murdans and these drones down in the next level. So we'll sounds like that worked out for us. So I'm not interested in blame. Tell me about these drones. You rushed to beat me here. You deserve what you got. Can I help you with these wounds? I was hoping you'd give yourself killed when you volunteered. I wasn't hoping that, but it was a possibility. As I said, I don't really know how I feel about him totally. I haven't made my final opinion of him yet, but he is eager to please Salamari. That's for sure. So let's be helpful, I think, with him. He did rush here to beat me, but we told Salamari to send him, and she agreed to because we said that she should send him first. So I don't feel like this is a fair response. We absolutely expected him to come, and we gave him his shot. And he is still alive, but he hasn't completed his task. Not yet. So I'm not interested in blame. Tell me about these drones. Let's find out information about the drones first. Your dominant tide has changed. Blue tide raised a tiny amount. Not much to tell. Floating orbs, deadly beams, damnably fast too. Now, if you still intend on reclaiming this place for Salamari, the drones are still down there. I believe they're infecting the systems with their minds, and they will defend their territory without mercy, believe me. He turns his attention back to his wounds. Good luck. So it sounds like he might, let's see what happens if I talk to him again. Mind yourself down there. Salamari will find some way to blame me if you don't come back. Yeah, she told him to not come back at all. Essentially, she wants him dead if he doesn't succeed. Sounds like she's at the end of her rope when it comes to Koro. So we didn't heal him, but that's okay. So we're going to look around here. Let's loot first. Money, we need it. We can loot over here. Gravity bomb, it's a cipher. Let's take a look at that. It just automatically puts them with our ciphers, and I think we can move them. Yeah, we can move them to other party members. Kalisteg, she can hold on to a few ciphers. She can hold up to 3. Tybir can only hold 1. He can't hold very many ciphers. We can hold quite a few, so we can hold 5. Let's take a look at this one. Gravity bomb. Targets all in a small area, so it will affect our allies, and the range is medium. So that's the same for this detonation, which is essentially a bomb. And then this one here only affects us. All characters in range take 12 relativistic, ignores resistance damage. Interesting. So I haven't seen this damage type yet. So it's nice to know that there's damage that can bypass those resistances. And they're knocked down, and they get negative 45 evasion. So this negative fettle applies to them. Negative 45 evasion and consumes movement to stand. So they're knocked down until they stand, and they have to use their movement to do so. Consumes our action. It's active for 1 round. I wonder if the knockdown fettle only lasts for 1 round. I assume that it lasts until they choose to stand. This strange, crudely crafted metal plate is lighter than it looks. A hole in its center glows with a soft yellow radiance. 2 handles nearby allow the user to carry the device. When treated violently, such as being struck or thrown, the cipher's light hardens and gravity settles harder on everything in the vicinity. Okay, great. Let's see what happens if we use this here. Oh, and I made a mistake when I was reading this before. I thought it didn't like it when we asked what you are or who it was, but it actually said it appears to want to answer the question. And I skipped a word when I was reading it. So that changes my opinion of it. It sounds like it wants to answer this question. It gives me these other weird answers, these visions, when I use it. So I want to know what you are. Cube remains dark for almost a minute. So that's the same response we got last time, but we know that it wants to tell us because of what the narration told us that it suspects that we suspect that it wants to answer this question. So we're going to put it away, and I'm going to try it in different locations. I don't know if that will make the difference. Maybe there's another device that combines with it, or we have to do it in a specific place, or you know, we have to have some kind of active effect or a spell or something that will work with that. See if there's anything else here to loot. There is over here. Just money? That's fine. We need it. How much do we have now? 56. Not quite enough for us to rest.
We shall see.
Metal panels and parts have been torn from the wall as if someone was trying to rip their way out to no avail. So that might have been the Murdens that were trying to get out from these sentries that are down below, but we don't know. And we can interact with these, so let's go ahead and take a look. This Murden has been dead for at least a day or 2. The lower portion of its body is missing, and its midsection has been torn open to get at the viscera inside. So that's pretty gruesome. Sounds like something was trying to eat it. Let's examine the corpse. Burn marks speckle the creature's foul, leathery robes. Lifting these carefully aside, you see the unhealed wounds beneath. The Murden was probably killed by beam vapors, sounds like the sentries, and none of the other Murdens were carrying any. So I don't know if Koro has any kind of weapon like that, but he did mention that the sentries had a weapon of that type. This does not account for the other damage to the corpse. Flesh was torn from the creature in long strips, and since the Murden was trapped in this antechamber with its fellows, you can guess what happened next. So yeah, it sounds like they were eating him. Not surprising. Examine the corpse again. You only confirm your earlier findings. The Murden was killed by beam weapons and eaten by its comrades. Leave the corpse. Yeah, I think that's what it said in this book. The abhumans. The vile Murden, hunched and bird-like, with sharp, dirty beak and a thick down of black feathers. Murdens subsist as thieves and murderers on the fringes of human society, rarely posing an organized threat to a community, but often ambushing lone victims or terrorizing isolated homesteads. They're incapable of speech, but they communicate with one another through a primitive form of telepathy that bleeds into the minds of everybody nearby, which can prove dangerous distraction. Most of the time, they're notorious cowards. It doesn't say anything about them eating. I remember the other abhuman species, the Yovok, and it says that they eat whatever they kill. So I wonder, it says it was there. It was eaten by its companions. So we'll trust the game narrator there. The chromed pillar descends as you approach, exposing a long shaft ringed with snaking cables. Dim light filters from up below. Up from below. So this is how we get down, it looks like. I think we've interacted with everything in this first step. Yeah, and there's nothing else to the map here. I can tell by not being able to scroll. All right, well, let's go down. Don't underestimate the value of good defense. Evasion helps you to dodge attacks, while willpower can help you avoid spells. I didn't see the last word there. Oh boy. So, Peerless. A construct floats up to bar your path. Blood speckles its ridged surface, presumably from the fight before with Koro and the Murdens. I think that it's probably inevitable that we're going to be fighting these guys, but maybe not. Halt, Fleshwalker, it bellows. Quake in the boundless shadows of peerless immortal intelligence of a lost age. Cower before me and you may be spared. So, we can try to fool it, but I don't think it's going to let us past no matter what we do. So, well, let's bow to the construct. See if we can make any headway, but I doubt it. Gold tide raised a tiny amount. Give the construct a deep, noble bow. Oh, and finally, we see our silver tide lowered a moderate amount. Never bow to a construct. It gives them ideas. Ugh. Even the construct seems somewhat taken aback by your show of respect, but it recovers quickly. Enough of these pleasantries. Leave, or my drones and I will smash your bones and burn smoking holes in your fatty innards. Alright, so... well, that didn't work. You mentioned the other drones. What can you tell me about them? I wonder if you'll tell me any information. They are my hands, the floating orb says smugly. Extensions of my indestructible will. Reflections of my brilliance. So the drones are copies of you. Got some experience. Not much. 2 is not a lot, but, you know, it adds up over time. Not exactly copies, Peerless says. Perfection cannot be so easily replicated, but you are essentially correct, Fleshwalker. So what did you call me? I don't know if this is a hostile thing, but... Fleshwalker, it says, shuddering. You are made of decaying meat and hardened calcium. You squish and click when you move. It is disgusting. What are you doing down here? Great work worthy of an immortal being, it says. It says. And even that is more than you deserve to know. So, very dismissive of us. Doesn't seem to respect us. Definitely doesn't seem to be afraid of us, or it's not letting on if it is. So... and can you tell me anything else about what you're doing down here? I don't think it's going to give us any information, but we might as well ask. No, the construct snaps. It is beyond your meat-bound understanding. Well, we'll see about that. While it sounds like we can really, I'm leaving. Excellent. Do not return. We are busy here.
Making a note.
So the anechoic lazarette. Let's see if we get any information in the codex. So under locations. Nothing there. Peerless, that's these guys. So, the machine intelligence known as Peerless is more like a virus, installing copies of itself in other machines. These machines become Peerless drones, bloodthirsty and insane, and everyone is convinced that it is the original Peerless. No one knows where the true source of the Peerless drones can be found. Okay, so the attitude that we got from that drone, I suspect that we will get it from the other drones, and we don't know if it's a copy or it's itself. Probably not itself. It appears that there's quite a few. So, see what happens if we go up around here. I'm going to try and explore what I can before... Oh, something to loot. Oh, a crisis is initiated. Destroy or deactivate the Peerless drones. 3 control terminals remaining. So they don't like that we are walking over here. They just immediately fight us. And I don't know who we're fighting. Is it these guys? Oh, yeah, it's those guys down there. Are there any buffs that I can do right off the bat? Oh, I didn't look at any of his abilities, so we're going to look at those now. Fortunately, when you're turn-based, you can do that. Sucker Punch. Attack. So with the rapier, equipped weapon range, so we need to be right next to them. Attack that deals weapon damage +3. If the target has a negative fettle, confer dazed for 1 round. So we want to chain this with a negative fettle if we can. He's a novice, so he doesn't get any bonus. And with the dazed fettle, for 1 round, they have negative 15 willpower and negative 15% on attacks. So we could chain that with, casting a spell afterwards, because they're going to be vulnerable to our spells. So we want to have a negative fettle on them first, and then cast spells on them after. Flex skill. Choose 1 exploration. Active until next sleep. Do we each have that? No, it's just sticking with whose turn it is. Hook. Snare target with a grappling hook and pull them towards you. Okay, so it's a gap closer. An enemy fails to resist, confer fainted. So a negative fettle. Good. So we can try to pair this with his Sucker Punch. The next attack that hits this character deals weapon damage +4. Does this use the weapon? Yes, it does. So, novice. So he's a novice at it. Active entire crisis. So that's good. It'll give us a negative fettle on the opponent for the entire crisis. Defended by willpower. Are there any differences between these guys? Nope, they're all identical, it appears. Health, 9 out of 9. 20 and 10. 9, 9, 20, 10. 9, 9. Yep, so they're all identical. It looks like it's those guys. Oh, there's one right here. Okay, so I'm going to move over to him. Oh, boy. It's more. Well, maybe it's these guys here that we're fighting. Yes, it is. It's only them. So, we will do that. It's a focus ability. Defended by willpower. Consumes movement. Do it on him. Tutorial. Edge. So we learned a little bit about this before. You or when we leveled up. You or a companion now have Edge in one of your stat pools, granting you a discount on using points from that stat pool. Each level of Edge grants 1 free level of effort, boosting your minimum chance of success. When using an ability, Edge reduces the activation cost first, and any leftover points are used for effort. So he has Edge, and we could have chosen this when we leveled up, and now that we get a chance to use it, we'll see how... I suspect it's valuable. It just sounded like it might have been kind of a boring ability. So right now he has 5 might. He has an 80% chance of success where he's at right now. And we could expend 1 of his points and make it guarantee success, but I think we'll stick with the 80%, take our chances.
Everything's possible when you keep your wits about you.
And he is fainted. Great. So, okay, so he took a little bit of damage there. I wonder if he got a debuff. So, let's look at that creature. So he is fainted. So the next attack that hits this character deals weapon damage plus 4. So it's her turn. Okay. So I'm wondering what we want to do. She could just attack. Who's the guy with the negative fettle? That's him there. You can see the indicator right below his health bar. So she has a 60% chance to hit him. We could try to get behind to what kind of, I don't know what kind of damage they do. Teleports to a point within range, then gain phased. Converts all damage to transdimensional and grants 30% evasion. Okay, so she's going to get evasion and resistance except for transdimensional damage. And I don't know if they do... what kind of damage did they do to him? It looked like acid damage, I think. I wish there was a combat log so that I could review. And I can use once per round. So let's do that. We're going to get behind this guy here.
My sisters lend their strength.
So that gives us 30% evasion, 3 resistance, which is good because they were doing some non-physical damage there. That's good, except for the transdimensional. And now I wonder if it doesn't tell us anything about flanking. And I don't know if he's close enough for there to be flanking. But we could also use this. How many? They have 9 hit points, not a lot. And he has the negative fettle that this one has. It's fainted. So I don't know if that will apply. I mean, she's not the best with weapon attacks. And I don't know if that damage will apply to this, but let's find out. I'm going to try and take him down, one at a time. We're going to leave it at 90%. I think that's fine.
How did that happen?
Missed. Wow. It's too bad. So, at this point, it's our turn, and we could... No one's damaged, and nobody has any negative fettles. We don't... Oh, wait, no, he did take some damage, but we heal 6 points of health. So we're not going to heal him yet. We'll save that. Let's use our onslaught. No line of sight, so we have to move first. I'm going to move down here.
Yes.
60%. I wonder if we would do better if we got a little bit closer. How much more movement do we have? It says it's purple. But I don't want to take my action. So, well, let's give it a try. We'll leave it where it's at.
You've already lost.
There we go. Wow. So that just took him out. That's great. This guy came to us. They're trying to flank him.
One at a time, please. There's plenty of Tiber to go around.
So we're going to go ahead and use this again. Just consumes his movement. So we're going to do it to... They're both 65, so let's do it to this guy. And we'll leave it... Oh, 65. Damn. Gives us... So that's where we're at right now. We expend 1, we go up to 85. I feel like that's a good idea.
Keep your wits about you.
It's fainted. Okay, then it's Callistag's turn. So I think we're just going to attack. Oh, wait a second. Oh, right. So now we can, because we didn't move. So this one here, it consumes our movement. And last time we moved, so we weren't able. So we had to do that. And then this consumes action. Attack that deals weapon damage plus 3. So let's, and if it has a negative fettle, convert dazed. Okay, so this is what I wanted to chain together. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's So it's going to do a bunch of damage, and we don't, but it's only a 45% chance here. Let's see. So we're flanked, so we have a negative 15. That's why it's bringing it down. So flanked debuffs our ability to hit as well, it looks like. I'll have to check on that. I'm not sure. I don't like that I'm flanked. I wonder if there's opportunity attacks. Let's cancel that. Do we have any movement? No, because it's purple. That's basic attack. How much damage would we do? Does it tell us? 7 plus 3. And this conferred... We could just do the attack and not use... I feel like we're going to be doing more fighting. These guys down here. So I don't want to use too much of my... I want to reserve my resources here. Consumes action. So that's 45 if I do that. So 1 damage per effort applied, max plus 6, trained plus 15%. So it does damage to them, and it's 90%, and it's going to do quite a bit. And it's practically guaranteed to hit. I like that a lot better than the weapon. So he's hobbled. And she can move. Maybe we move and give him flanked. I can't change my view here. Wonder if that made him... Doesn't look like that makes him flanked in that position there. But it's our turn. So we're going to go ahead and just do our spell. We can choose the type of energy here. I don't know. It doesn't say anything. I don't know if there's any information we can get if they are... if they're vulnerable to any kind of... Well, it says he has 0 resistance. So let's just go with, let's do transdimensional damage. Why not? So that would do 5 damage if we hit 60%. It's a bit of a risk, but let's do that because it will kill him if it hits. And so I don't need to up the damage. It would just be a matter of trying to increase our chance to hit.
I missed.
Missed, of course. Too bad. So I'm going to stay over here, though. So did one... I don't remember what that symbol means. I think it's energy. Let's just do a basic attack. So that would do 6 damage. And we're not going to use up... We won't use... and we've got an 80% chance. So I think that's our best option. Good. So still learning about our characters here, learning about how to do the fights, and it'll move a little faster as we move forward for sure.
Right.
But I think that went pretty well. I hope I didn't expend too many resources. And we do have, I mean, we do have these potions here that, you know, healing potion, but we also got, you know, this restores might. This restores intellect, and we still have quite a few resources left, and let's see, nobody else has any, unfortunately. This one here restores speed, the Fleetwood Moss. So, right now, we're in pretty good shape in terms of our resource pools. We haven't used too many, and I think that we'll be fine for a couple of fights here.
Now.
All right, so we're not sure what that is. Let's come back to it. So it looks like these are doors here. So this is another potion. Good. We need the potions. Let's see if anything happens when we get close to this guy. Nothing. Just money. I'm wondering if we want to kill these guys before we go around playing with stuff. Well, Well, who knows? Maybe this has some kind of an effect on them, and we can make use of it. So let's go take a look. I'm going to save it. Quick save.
Go.
Lazaret Intelligence. A cloud of sparkling motes flit around this column. As you approach, some swirl around your head and fly into your ear. A melodic voice, intercut with harsh static, speaks inside your eardrum. At first, you cannot understand the language, but a few words the sound morph into truth, and haughty truth at that. A lot of haughty machines and creatures and entities that we have encountered. Very dismissive of us humans. Wonderful. Simply grand. The creature is absolutely everywhere. Fearless interrupts the first speaker. Silence. I will consume you and then mash the Fleshwalkers into repulsive lumps of pasty meat. So, we have the mystical lore that applies here, and I don't know if this is combining the two or if just either apply to this situation, but we have the mystical lore training, so we can attempt to purge the Peerless Intelligence out of whatever this is, and we are a nano, and this is kind of, you know, in our wheelhouse, so let's see if we can be successful. I'm going to expend... I don't like these, the Peerless that are here. Obviously, I mean, they're hostile, but it seems like this machine is infected with the Peerless, and I'm going to do what I can. Ooh, for some reason. Oh, because she's specialized in mystical lore, whereas we are only trained. So that gives her quite a bonus. So we are going to use, and I'm going to use resources to do this. If we need to replenish them with potions later, we will. All right. A pulsing wave pattern on one segment of the pillar catches your attention, and you place a hand on it. A sing-song voice intones a series of musical notes, dissonant and haunting. You find yourself humming the next steps in the scale. The red light flushes from the column, and the other voice shouts, "Finally, thank you for ridding me of that disgusting plague." The column has returned to its intended state, ready to accept other commands. Okay, so that the color of it has changed. It had that kind of red look to it. So, I suppose I can offer some healing if you'd like, the intelligence grumbles. Just use the command tone. Okay, well, we didn't take too much damage, but sure, I'll take it. I'm the next steps in the scale. So, Tybir healed the 4 damage that he took on. But I mean, 4 damage is quite a bit at this point. It's a decent chunk of our health pool, is a decent percentage. A chorus of warm tones reverberates from within the column, accompanied by a ripple of light. The sound vibrates through you, and you feel rejuvenated. Okay, so it's just a healing beacon. We can interact with it, or it is a healing beacon for sure. I don't know if that's all it is. We can interact with it again. I think at this point we're going to call the stream, and I believe I will be back later. So we'll leave it there, and we're going to continue fighting these Peerless. I'm going to try to become more familiar with my character's abilities, so let's go ahead and we will save the game, and